Hi everyone, welcome to the Body of Work podcast. Today I'm joined with Adreena Angela. We started our friendship by sending each other books, which has been really lovely, and we've been sharing our love of poetry. For our guests that don't know who you are, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am Adreena Angela. I'm a London-based dominatrix, model and erotic performer. I do public speaking and writing. I currently still own the Dungeon Anana in North London, but I now work from this space here in London Bridge.
It is a beautiful space.
Thank you.
You brought your work bag with you.
Yes.
Could you show us and tell us a little bit about what you take to work?
Yes, sure. So obviously I work in dungeons and hotels and stuff, so this is predominantly for when I'm at hotels. And I think we have, the basics, which in my line of work, a hood.
That's for the client?
Yes, yeah. There's certain things that were kind of universal to a lot of my sessions. So gags, hoods, cuffs. Oh, like a little cock popping out there. Collar. And yeah, seeing as these guys seem to want to come out the bag, I can show you dildos on here, right?
Yeah.
I do a lot of anal play and pegging. It's a
Okay,
personal
nice.
favourite of
They're
mine.
very realistic.
So it's a nice one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Different colour tones, different sizes. Obviously, subsequently, lube.
Lube, nice. What's your lube of choice?
Even in my handbag, I will always have like a little portable lube with
Just
me.
in case.
Just in case. Yeah. This one's Coco de Mer.
Oh, nice.
And for anal, you'll be having a different lube to like vaginal lube. It's a bit thicker. So I should probably actually have another lube for, penetration, hand jobs, that sort of thing.
Lube life? Nice, never heard of it.
What else do we have? Oh, obviously, rope is kind of an essential item. And various impact toys. I kind of specialise in sensual and erotic domination,
Nice.
which means that you don't need to be so tool heavy as if, for example, I was doing lots of medical play or something. I always think like the best tool for my work is my body, and everything else is just extras.
I love that.
Yeah.
How would you define sensual or erotic domination?
It's kind of very somatic. It's about sensory play a lot more. It's more for me, I think, psychological. And it's kind of rooted in touch, intimacy, closeness. So things like tie and tease and denial, edging. Using my body and stimulating their body, I think.
Oh, wow, amazing.
It makes for a lighter bag. Obviously, this is a Gnosis leather harness. It's clearly been around the block a few times. But yeah, as I said, lots of anal as well in my life.
Oh my God, it's gorgeous.
It's a nice one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then obviously gloves and condoms. This is like a magic trick, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a gorgeous bag. I don't know if we can see it on camera, but
this is Soletti.
Sure.
Like I said, I like the bag needed to have the right energy for me. If I'm going into a hotel, I need it to, have the aesthetic I wanted to bring, the energy I want to bring. Vibrator, never a bad idea.
Yes, always a good idea.
And then I think, it's all basically the essentials. This is like endless.
Oh my God, you take a lot to work.
I do. But sometimes, particularly with a hotel, it can be up to 5 hours of play.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
5 hours of play.
Yeah. So I wouldn't do that in a dungeon. I'd be exhausted. But in a hotel, you sit down, you chat in between, you do massage, blah blah blah. It doesn't have like such a start-end time because you haven't booked a dungeon or whatever.
So you try to
so
go
I have
out
to
for
have a lot of stuff.
Do you try to go out for lunch within the 5 hours or full on?
So what they'll often offer is to do dinner and then play, and that's something I always decline because I just think that's like sadistic to feed someone a meal and then expect them to strip to lingerie and work.
It's very true. I once went for a curry on Brick Lane and I'm like, are you sure you want
to? The worst.
Yeah, it's true.
But, so what I'll do is champagne at the bar snacks. So I've got like enough in me to give me a bit of energy, but I don't want to go to bed. Because if I'm eating a meal, I'm just going to go to bed. If I'm drinking wine, this is not going to happen. I will do bar snacks and drinks, and then, like I said, massage breaks. Maybe they can bathe me for a while. That sort of thing.
It's so true. I think about that on regular dates. Like often with my ex-girlfriend, we'd go out for dinner. I hadn't seen her for ages, and I'm like, oh, I just want to sleep now. It feels so much pressure, but I'm like,
definitely
so tired.
Yeah, I don't think meals are for like early dates.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Do you have a ritual for when you're going to work?
I think the getting ready process is sort of the ritual for me. It's like, with a woman, like putting on makeup and everything, it's like armor.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I will always have to do. It's hair, makeup. I'll be playing music. I need to be alone. I'm not one of those people that can, go straight from lunch, come back and start a session. I need that time beforehand to sort of like, be alone, think about it, settle in. And the putting on the makeup, I think, is like that. It's kind of transformative,
Yeah.
The last step is getting into my work clothes. I'll be shuffling around looking like a homeless person in like tracksuits up till about 5 minutes before they arrive. And then it's like that. There's always that moment where I have to take off the comfy things. Yes, I think it's that. Really.
Character mode. Do you feel like you are a different character at work?
No, I think I think it's really important to my style of work is that when someone is spending time with me, they spend time with me. And it's very much me who is in that scene and leading the scene. I think wearing the erotic clothing and having the makeup and stuff helps you channel the sexier part of yourself rather than you putting on a different persona. It's like I'm channeling one part of my personality more than another, for example.
That's really interesting because I always feel like getting into like a character is part of me, like protecting myself from the client.
That's really...
Yeah, do you
I
ever
should try that? Maybe my mental health would be better if I did that.
Do you ever feel like consumed by a client or like they know too much about who you actually are?
That's so interesting you used that word because earlier today I was thinking, because I do I live alone, I spend a lot of time alone thinking, and I was actually thinking about that, and I was thinking about how you feel used sometimes, or like your space is taken, and the one word I use is consumed. Like I feel sometimes consumed by people who observe me, consumed by clients, consumed by men or women in my private life. So yes I do. And I think it's really important, even with the ones that you love and you trust and you want to know about you, that you hold something back for yourself just as a practice. So I will intentionally choose to share with people, but there'll be things that I will always keep back, and it's just that it's a little part of me that belongs to me, and I know that I have.
Do you feel consumed in the same way? Because obviously you're a public figure.
I think to a degree, yes. Going to public like venues can be a bit overwhelming, but in a way also it feels, it's nice for me because it's organic. Like people aren't, often they're just excited to see you and they want to come over and say hello. It's not like they want something from you in the same way. They don't want your body. So whilst it can be in terms of energy draining to have to, be there for everyone and engage with everyone, it comes from a nice place. So
that's a nice way of looking at it. It's a nice place for sure. What's your sex work origin story?
It really happened sort of by accident, and I think it was already on the kink scene. I was already working on the kink scene, modelling and performing. I started going to fetish clubs at 17.
Oh wow!
working at them at 18, and so it was always part of my life. And so doing kink was already a huge part of my life. When I was younger, before I got old and tattooed, I did commercial modelling, and it was while I was commercial modelling that someone just approached me and was like, "Hey, there's these parties, which are the foot parties, which for people who don't know them, they're like strip clubs for feet."
Oh wow!
Yeah, so you go in, there'd be all these foot fetishists, a load of foot models. You'd chat to them, and then they would like lick your feet, massage your feet. You'd trample them for, they'd give you 50 quid for 10 minutes, and you'd hustle like a strip club.
Do they still exist?
Yes, they do. So at the time, someone asked if I wanted to do that, and I was like, well, I'm already on kink scene. I already do this anyway. None of this is going to freak me out. I need money.
So like foot staff was your gateway into sex work, which I feel like for many people it is, because they read a Vice article and they're like, I'm going to sell feet pics on OnlyFans and be a millionaire. Yeah.
So I went to a few of those, and then obviously loved them because it was like up my street. But obviously a lot of people who are into feet might also be submissive. So I'd start to get men be like, yeah, cool, can I worship your feet, but can you put me on a collar and leash? And or maybe you can slap me while you do it, that sort of thing. I kind of realised I learnt a lot about my own sexual identity through exploring this with them. I was a pastry chef at the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And doing this like moonlighting in foot worship parties.
What a juxtaposition.
Yeah. And it was during the days of Backpage, which I call like the golden age of sex work.
Yeah, it's like Craigslist.
Yeah, it was amazing. I just charge 100 quid for an hour of just to touch my feet. I'd see like 5-6 men a day. And then so it got to the point where I was like, I can either carry on as a chef or I can pursue sex work full time.
And how old were you at this point?
At this point I was probably about 25.
That's a good age.
Yeah, I was old enough to hopefully not make too many mistakes.
Yeah.
Or be misled by men. But young enough to be...
Still happens, yeah.
Yeah,
to
have energy. 6 sessions a day. I was young enough to have energy then.
So you talk about the golden age of sex work or the Backpage. How do you feel like it's different now in the climate?
Oh, God. It's getting really tough now.
Really hard.
So obviously there was the online safety bill, which brought down Backpage, RIP, I miss it so much. And now we have Foster Sester, and now we have the online safety bill. And so like you can't even advertise on X anymore. I really resent calling it X. Say Twitter, we can't advertise on Twitter anymore. And men, I find clients, they're very visual. They often need to be told what they want. So if you'd say like, this is me doing a session, look what I'm wearing, this is what I'm doing this man, they're like, I want that. And then they take it. So I've noticed now my website was deleted a while back. I now have a new one.
Actual website?
For hosting sex work.
Oh, wow.
Then I was on MailChimp and I still pay. I need to cancel my payment to them.
MailChimp is so expensive.
They cancelled I had a mailing list of about 1,600 people. Wow. And they closed it down because of sex work.
Do you have that data anywhere?
I don't know how to get it. Apparently you can. I don't know how to get it.
Yeah.
And then obviously all the advertising sites are down. You can't do it on Instagram. You can't do it on Twitter. So it's become a lot harder to get work. And I've noticed it's got a lot quieter. And just it's the energy drain of constantly jumping through hoops.
It's like you have to be an influencer to do sex work.
Yeah, and I'm not. I really it's so unnatural. Social media is so unnatural to me. It's not my thing. I think I grew up before social media.
Yeah.
Giving away my age more than I would like. So Reels, I don't use TikTok. Reels, Snapchat I was way too old for before it even came out.
It's an ick if anyone's using Snapchat now, by the way.
When men on the street ask me for my Snap, I'm like, baby, you're too young for me.
Oh my God.
Get back to school. So even Reels I find really laborious, and it's not me.
Lots of DOMs are doing Reels.
It's impressive. It's really impressive. It's not me, and I feel like I know I'm of a different age, but I am. I'm an analog girl, It's like, so yeah, I struggle with it.
Yet you have quite a sizable Instagram following. How did you build
been
that?
around the block. Have you? Been around for a while. Yeah. So obviously, when I got into sex work, I was at a massive position of privilege. In so much as because I was already working as a model on the King scene. And I'm aware I had a lot of advantage there. Because when I started sex work, there was a queue of men who were just waiting for me to start. And everyone knew my name, so I really had a following. So it wasn't like I had to do all the stuff that I think a lot of women have to do, of getting their name out, choosing their name, getting their name out there, finding places to advertise. It was all set up for me. And yeah, I've had my Instagram, obviously this is like my third, but I've been on Instagram for probably like 15 years or so.
So you've been deleted before?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's my own. It's not.
It's not your own.
But I mean, like, I'm
no.
pretty whorish. I'm not playing by the rule book, am I? And I do a lot of public speaking and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of generates. But I'm lucky. Again, I'm really lucky for that because I am not a natural at that sort of thing.
I feel like you are. You're so articulate.
Do people want you to be articulate on Instagram, or do they want you to?
Salacious.
Please the algorithm.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that. Instagram really impacts everything. Like, it makes you make bad art. Like,
yeah, I think it's really, it's socially, it's really interesting. I think I'm really fascinated by how internet and social media will change us on like a fundamental human level.
Yeah, do you think it has changed people?
But I think it's fundamentally changed how people interact. how our brains work.
Yeah.
Everything, like short form content.
100%. Everyone has like ADHD tendencies now.
Yeah, exactly. I read a lot of books, as you know.
Yes.
And even now I find like it's more of a struggle. I have to put my phone in the other room.
100%.
Yeah, because otherwise I'm just going to keep checking texts and stuff, and it's like distressing. Same as music consumption, Spotify ruining music.
Oh,
the
so
death of the long
true.
intro, like people needing to have a hook, a catch, music needing to be TikTokable. I think the internet's fundamentally changing how we create art, how we interact with other people,
Everything, yeah. I'm developing a television series and have a production company interested. They were like, it's great, but can you turn it into a thriller? And they're like, what happens if they're burying a body? Because it's like they need a hook all the time.
Yeah. Do you know they now design TV to be for like multiple platform viewing, i.e. when they have TV shows, they need to design it so it's something that people can watch whilst they're on their phone.
Yeah, crazy. It's so sad. It is so sad. Talking about sex work, do you have a booking that's been like memorable or funny?
I mean, I have 1,000 memorable things, definitely. I was telling a story the other day, which made me think of this, and I think it every time I see my fucking machine. But I had this Lebanese couple book me. And firstly, Lebanese people are the most fun. Whenever anyone messages me and says they're Lebanese, I'm like, I'm in for a good time. They're just, I don't know if it's because of their history and they live like it's their last day on earth. They're just really fun people, lovely. I love the Lebanese. Anyway, so they booked me to do a hotel session with them, and they just ordered boxes of sex toys to the hotel.
Oh, wow.
Like boxes, like dildos, lubes, various toys, blah, blah. And so we were hanging out. It was a really long session because I was just having so much fun with them. We're just drinking champagne, playing, blah, blah, blah. And one of the things they ordered was like a fucking machine. So using the fucking machine, at the end, they were like, we can't take this back to Beirut with us, obviously. Do you want it? And I was like, yeah, I want it. But we'd been playing for a really long time. It was like 3 a.m. I was tired, in high heels. I've been drinking champagne. I was like, I need to get it out of the hotel. And I couldn't carry it myself. So we called the bellboy. And I'm walking behind them, like a bit drunk, so like trying to act really respectable. Didn't think to disassemble the fucking machine. So this poor bellboy is carrying a fully assembled fucking machine down the lobby of this 5-star hotel while I'm trotting behind him, trying to act natural and behave normally. And then he's like trying to get it into the backseat of my Uber. And now every time I look at my fucking machine, it makes me laugh because it's just such a beautiful image.
Oh my God. Did he realise it was a fucking machine?
It was fully assembled with a dildo on.
Oh, wow. Like, so it wasn't in a box.
Yeah, like I was like, I'd had a lot of fun by this point in the night. My blood was not in my brain.
Oh my God, that is so funny. I have
literally carrying a dildo-attached fucking machine out the lobby of the 5-star hotel, trying to get it in an Uber.
Oh my God, I have a funny fucking machine story. It's when we first started Riot, and our friend that owns a dungeon, he was lending us his fucking machine and put it in an Uber and sent it to my house. And I got what I thought was the fucking machine out of the back, but it wasn't. It was just like the Uber drivers, like he had a box of stuff, and then he drove off with the fucking machine. And we couldn't get through to Bowl, and they were like, what's in the box? We need to know what's in the box. But we eventually got it.
I was going to say, that's excellent.
So you started sex work when you were 25. Did you immediately come out to people in your life?
So I think a lot of people already kind of knew because I was already going to fetish parties, performing at them, performing at sex parties, modelling. So most people knew I was in that world. I didn't come out, so I've come out to everyone now because it's just too tiring.
So tiring.
It's just so tiring not to. And also, I think I came out when I was a pastry chef before. So I was on, like 15 grand a year.
Wow, that's so badly paid.
Yeah, for like 18-hour days. That's why I didn't look back,
Yeah.
And obviously you can't have long nails, blah, blah, blah. You can't have fake eyelashes, you can't have piercings. No one was believing that I was like buying my own house and looking the way I did and living the way I lived as a pastry chef.
Yeah.
While I suddenly held this prime, so I was like, it's not going to, I can't really keep this covered up. And also, when I think it's really, obviously everyone has their own path, but it kind of protects you because if everyone knows, no one can try and out you, It's like, I'll tell your family, so.
Yeah, like I've already
Right?
told you, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like a comfort in coming out because before, when you're younger, I had an ex-boyfriend that would always leverage it. And it's like,
Really,
actually,
yeah,
like, no,
that's
you don't
dark.
get to do that anymore.
Yeah. And I think it was helped me that I was always on the kink scene stuff. Like I started when I was at school, so everyone knew what I was as a person anyway.
Yeah.
So there wasn't any, it wasn't like, oh my God, people will find out that I'm doing these things, because everyone already knew. So going into sex work was just like another step on the ladder. It wasn't like this big thing for me.
Yeah. Did you feel any judgment from the kink scene?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I always get really bemused when people who hear that I do domination, like, oh, but isn't it reductive to say you're a sex worker? I'm like, no, what do you think sex work is?
Yeah.
But no, I don't think so, because I think a lot of people there's a crossover between the queer community and the kink community. There's crossover between the kink community and sex work community. So yeah, I feel like it's all overlapping, particularly with kink and domination, obviously.
100%. Yeah, definitely. And in terms of dating and relationships, how has your experience been with that and sex work? And has it differed do you ever reflect on like pre-sex work you? And did like men treat you differently?
Well, I'm single, so obviously it's not great for your love life. Yes, yeah, it can be difficult. Yeah. I think I spent a while trying to be like, no, it doesn't make it. And like, I was just trying to placate myself. But it, over the years I've found out it can be difficult. Even with the men who say that they don't have a problem with it, inevitably at some point they do. I notice quite commonly is that men will pursue you because they want the woman that they've seen online, but when they've got it, they don't want the woman they've seen online to exist. So they want you for the thing that then they don't want you to be anymore.
Yes.
And that's exhausting. The U-turning is exhausting. Like, I'm so proud of you. I'm happy with what you do. But tell me, what are you doing today? Set your boundaries. Tell me what you're doing exactly in the session, who you're seeing. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah. A lot of pressure. I think I do have I think it's given me my own hang-ups around being objectified, being consumed by men, whether I'm actually wanted for myself, whether I'm wanted for the image, the job.
Yeah, being associated with you.
Yeah. It can be isolating, I think, the work, lonely up on the pedestal. Lots of people, I think, won't date you because they're intimidated. So yeah, I think I used to tell myself it didn't because I wanted to try and make myself feel better, but does make life harder.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I think even I've experienced with sex positive men, like, they're fine with it, but then it's like, actually, I don't need to hear about that. Or
and for me, it's really important. I know everyone deals with their relationships differently, but for me, it's really important that if they are proud of you, that they... Because, anyone else, if you come home from a bad day at work or a good day at work, you want to tell your partner about it. That's good for you to be able to do. It's bonding. You have a support network. And so if your partner's not able to listen to your day, that's not having a healthy, normal, adjusted relationship.
Yeah, definitely. Or I think it's like even what I've experienced in non-monogamy, like placing it like the same level as like a hookup. Like, no, it's work.
Oh my God, I cannot believe that I get that. But people are like, okay, so you're doing your work, so I can fuck, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you can if that's something we discuss, but not because I'm working.
Yeah, exactly. You think I'm enjoying this?
Yeah. Yeah, it blows my mind that is actually a conversation I've had to have multiple times, but it is.
Yeah.
I'd like tit for tat.
Exactly.
Me doing my job.
I think it's probably because lots of men, if we're talking about dating men, would love to be a sex worker if they could. And got to fuck the gender they want to fuck.
Yeah, that is it. It's like, you can do that if you want.
Yeah.
Good luck to you.
Good luck. It's not going to work.
I think that'd be really nice and sobering for them to try and get into sex work and see how far they got.
But you've managed to have relationships whilst working?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to think how many have been like... I've had, what I find really interesting actually is some of the best, healthiest relationships I've had in sex work are with vanilla men.
Interesting.
So I've had a boyfriend, shout out to him, he was great. Who I remember we were walking in New York and he was like, tell me about day, and I was like, oh my God, I was his client, I made him come like 5 times in an hour. And he was like, babe, girl.
Oh my God.
I was like, so proud of you. That's impressive.
Wow.
I was like, thank you. Vanilla man.
Wow. Where did you find him?
And then, I've dated men on the kink scene, and they're actually can be a lot more hard work. So just ultimately, they're still men.
Yeah.
Dating women, obviously a completely different experience, because I think we have a heightened understanding of the intricacies of interpersonal relationships, work, and even with friendships. Like I will sleep with my female friends, and that's part of us bonding. So I think women are more attuned to the subtleties of relationships and the different forms that they take and the different forms that sex can take. So I will have a lot less issues dating women and dating men.
Yeah, I agree.
So shout out to women.
Shout out to women. My first girlfriend that was a sex worker, I was like, oh my God, this is so nice.
Yeah, dating sex workers is an enormous relief, because again, you can not only can you talk about your day at work, but you can talk about your day at work with someone who understands.
Yeah, like there isn't a preamble that you have to do, or damage control. After. Yeah,
because that's exhausting. Like sex work can be exhausting enough without having this added layer of complexity to it.
Yeah, definitely. What has domination taught you about yourself in your everyday life?
So I think, actually really interestingly, I think I got into domination because of my belief sets in everyday life. Like I've always been really socially motivated and politically motivated, and so for me domination is obviously intrinsically linked to feminism. Also just having a voice. I think for me domination and being dominant isn't about like the work or kink specifically. Being dominant is about understanding my innate female power, sexual power, and also the kind of harnessing the anger I have in the world. But I think through domination, that gave me a safe space to explore it without being, because it's very threatening to men when women are confident in their power, in their bodies. And so it gave me a safe space to explore it. I think it taught me a lot about interpersonal relationships, people. And I think basically about being able to, what's transferred to normal life is not making yourself smaller to make other people more comfortable. So not adjusting your voice or adjusting your opinion so that other people aren't uncomfortable or threatened by your voice, which is what women, I think, do. We're taught to do since we're born. And so if someone thinks that you're being too direct or you're being a bitch, often a man thinking you're being a bitch is you just being direct about your needs or desires or opinions with them. And it's that you've made them uncomfortable. And so I think my work in dominance definitely transfers that through to my everyday life, and like how you can address yourself, stand up for yourself in a way that isn't undermining yourself.
Yeah.
Or make yourself small.
Definitely. Men do that all the time to us without even realising.
Exactly. And we're so indoctrinated to just accommodate that.
Even if they don't mean to.
And also, exactly, they don't. I really don't think they do. And that's the thing about like, oh, you don't need to say it like that. You're like, can we just take a moment to think, did I actually say anything threatening or aggressive or rude? Or did I make you feel uncomfortable by challenging your opinion or by not placating you? Yeah. And it's like, if you just think about that and you think about what I said and was there anything in there that was actually difficult, or whether you're just not used to a woman standing up for herself.
Do you feel like that's something you've learned with age? Like going through life as a woman?
Yeah, and I think I'm really lucky in domination rather than like standard sex work, in so much it's probably one of the only spaces as a woman where you have the capacity to become a success with age. I know it still doesn't necessarily apply because you'll get men being like, I want a young, beautiful woman. But the older you get, the more powerful women get. I fully believe that.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I love that.
Obviously, it's experience. It's life experience. It's knowledge, power, your sexuality, everything increases with age.
Do you like aging as a woman?
I have a complicated relationship with aging as a woman. And I think that's obviously from Western beauty standards, being in the modelling industry, social media, where we're constantly force-fed the idea that we become less valuable with age. And it's really hard to unlearn. I'm very conscious of it happening to me.
Yeah.
But when I managed to free myself from that, I like myself now more than I ever have. I think I'm the best version of myself right now, apart from just being a bit more fucking tired. Apart from that. And I think there's something really, really erotic and beautiful about older women aging. I love it. And so I think I feel more powerful. I feel more settled. I enjoy it. Yeah. I like, when I date men, I like dating younger men because of the power play of it, you know? I like knowing that I'm richer than them and more successful than them. I'm more sexually experienced than them.
Oh my God, I love that. Women in male-dominated fields.
Yeah, that's a little thing of mine.
Do you feel like they're emasculated by you?
I hope so. Yes, they definitely are. I'm richer than them, better in bed than them, and more successful than them, of course.
Yes.
And hotter than them, realistically.
Oh my God, I love that. Go you. If you could write a letter to yourself when you were like 18, what would it say?
Oh God, I'm going to sound so California here, but protect your peace. Like, look after yourself. Rest. Also, you did the right thing, I think. I think there's 1,000 things I could have been or could have done, and I don't think I'd change this. It's hard, and it's been hard, and when you start, you don't know what the hell you're doing. There's a lot of like risk, and you're taking a big leap of faith, but when I look back, I don't think I want to be doing anything else, and I wouldn't want a different life. So protect your peace, and you're doing the right thing.
I love that. I was thinking about that this week, you know, in the bell jar, the fig analogy. Where, you know, you could have this life or another one. Yeah. And it's like, it's so hard.
It's really interesting for me because I think there's 1,000 things I would have loved to have done. I would have loved to have studied literature. Like, I still, like...
You should. You can. My mum just did a master's at 65 in creative writing.
That's gorgeous.
She's writing a book.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So things like that. And like, there are parts of my life I absolutely wish never existed, never happened. I wish I could erase them. I wish I'd... But all I can think is, and where I am now... it's like the butterfly effect and hinge factors in history. Like, I would not be where I am now if I hadn't done every single fucking thing that I'd done in my life to date. And whilst there are things I regret, I wouldn't change my path because it got me here. So, and that's really, I think like that's an unbelievable position of privilege that you would choose the life you have. Yeah. And so I try and be like really grateful for that every day because how many people would choose the life they have.
This is so true, like practicing gratitude and just being like, even if you're sad, like this was once my dream.
Yeah.
100%.
And like, no one has a life that they don't have sad moments in it, but I like to have out of body experiences sometimes where I just step out my body and be like, no bitch, like slap her on the face, look
at you.
Look at you. Everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah, it's amazing. Talking about stigma and shame, is it something that you've navigated personally or felt from other people?
Interestingly, personally, no. Not at all. I mean, I'm not entirely like shame-free. I experience shame, but in terms of sex work, nada, none. And I to the point, I'm like, I spend a lot of time trying to like reflect on that because obviously I have shame projected onto me, and I try and make sense of it because like I the way people respond to me makes me feel I'm meant to feel shame, but I don't. I think that's partially again. Privilege. It's like the sexuality and being in the kink scene and stuff. Being a female who's bisexual and attractive, people aren't going to judge your sexuality. And that's not cool, but it means it did make it easier for me, obviously. And again, same with being on the fetish scene. If you're a white girl, people aren't going to be judging you that hard for being kinky. Like, oh my God, you're kinky. So I think starting really, really young, like I started getting into fetish when I was about 13, 14. I started buying the magazines and like figuring it out. So it's always been a part of my life. And I remember talking to a guy once on a date and he's like, you know, have you ever had sex for money? And me being like, yeah, because I don't care. Like it does. And he responded really badly to it and was like really shocked and all that. And it really surprised me because I just could not for my sick self, figure out what was wrong there. So no, I don't have any shame. I think, I suffer stigma and stuff from other people, but my apathy to it has made it quite easy to cope with.
I think that's pretty common. Like none of us really feel it until the world inflicts it upon us.
Yeah, because also I'm surrounded by sex workers. I'd say almost all of my friends are sex workers. And so this is the world I operate in.
Life gets easier like that.
So I only exist on the periphery of the social norm. So the social norm is like the alien bit to me. And so therefore I have a different like perspective.
When you were on the date, what did the guy say?
I think he was just like silent for a minute, and he was a bit of a drama queen, to be fair, actually. But like,
stop being so dramatic.
Yeah, like, I need to think about this. I need to process this. Like, and we had the conversation of like, you know, you have sex for free though. You're still doing the act, but you're giving it away, brother.
You could be monetizing this.
Who's actually being more of a whore here? The person who's just giving it out for free, or the person who's like, paying their rent. So I tried to have that conversation, and in the end they were like okay with it, but it's just like the long silences and that I need to think about if I can do this, and I don't want to hear about it and all of those things. And it just caught me off guard because I was like, oh shit, I forgot I meant to lie to men.
Yeah, but then you're falling in love with someone that doesn't know who you are.
Yeah, exactly. Life's too short. I'm too busy.
Yeah, I made the mistake. I'm not doing that again.
No. we learn.
Yeah, we do learn, definitely. And it's the worst way. Oh my God, my personal trainer actually the other day asked me if OnlyFans girls have brains.
What?
He is very cheap. So
my personal trainer knows what I do, and he's like, he loves it. He's like, I'm the only man that gets to tell you what to do. I'm like, okay, shh.
It's so funny. Yeah, I hope he'll never watch this because he pronounces my name Marve, so I don't think he's ever going to find. And I never correct him because I don't want him to Google me or anything.
Yeah.
I was telling him about Sexquisite, which is like a show for sex workers, and he's just convinced I run a strip club, and he's always trying to catch me out. He's like, "So you got work tonight?" And I'm like, "No." It's like, oh my God, like why would you think like sex workers don't have brains? Like that's just such an ancient thing to say. Yeah.
It really catches me off guard when you hear someone present such like a ignorant basic question,
Yeah, exactly.
Really, yeah.
It's like that's actually a really stupid thing to say.
Yeah. Also, they're probably also richer than you.
Definitely. 100%.
Not that dumb.
100%. So you're writing a book.
I am.
Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Like, until it's in my hands, I'm not committed to it, but I am. Again, also kind of by accident. I never was like, I would always love to have written a book, but it was never like, I'm going to write a book. I couldn't afford therapy, is basically how it started. And I was going through a lot of stuff. I was trying to process some losses in my life. I was trying to process navigating sex work. And writing was just the way that I could do it. I just started writing, and then I couldn't stop. Now, I think I started about 6 years ago. Now it's about 160,000 words in.
Wow.
It's finished, pretty much. It's on the editing stages, which is also a lot of work.
You're editing it yourself?
No, I've got an editor. He's based in New York. He's over at the moment. And we kind of meet up. We work through it. It's a lot. It's quite a difficult process, getting it into shape. But it's been incredible for me to help just process my journey and process sex work, process emotions, all of that.
Yeah. Has your writing practice come from sex work then, would you say? Like it was a way for you to process what's going on?
Yeah. So it's not, it's a memoir. It's not entirely about sex, shockingly. It's sort of like grief memoir because it is dealing a lot with topics of grief, but obviously sex work is a huge part of my life, and I write a lot about my sessions. Not so much the details of them, but how I navigate relationships with the clients, how they make me feel, moments that stood out to me. I think people, when I say that, are like, oh, you're a dominatrix writing a book about domination, and it's really not that. I think it's really a horrible shock for people when they actually read it. It's not that. It has themes of that, but it's not like just telling stories about what happens in the dungeon.
I think that's really important because mainstream media and literature is all about secret diary cool work girl. I'm a sex worker, welcome to my world, here's a booking. We're not able to be fully formed, multifaceted people.
Everyone wants you to just tell titillating little stories, and I find it's kind of makes me feel a little undermined as a writer because it's quite hard to be taken seriously as a writer when you're a sex worker, I think, because people just want to hear the stories and they're like, oh, you're writing a book about sex work because that's what you've done your career, now you want to do, it's the next step. And it's like, no,
this is my exit.
I would like to think that
exactly,
I write because I write and I just happen to be in sex work. So yeah, a lot of it's about sex, but I think it's it was my desire to write that drove me to write it, not sex work.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you feel a pressure to pigeonhole yourself to make it sell?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've been doing a lot of to and fro with that, with various agents and my editor and stuff, of how much I have to adhere to that, because, like I said, I think it's misleading. It's quite misleading because that's not what it is. But I think obviously there are advantages to that.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I'm kind of like pushing back against that. But yeah, the pressure is definitely there, because it's really sad. That's just what we want. People like now, I think post-lockdown particularly, that really hit the publishing industry. It's become a lot tighter.
Yeah.
There's a lot more pressure to sell books. What sells books? Sex. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We've done the same, as in we put a play on before, we like advertised it. It's like, this is super salacious stories from the strip club, and then you go in and it's like politics.
Oh my God, I know. Same with mine. It's just like, it's actually quite dark. I'm trying to depress people. I'm not going to turn them on.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea to get people in
that's
the door that way.
Like,
actually,
if you want to buy it because you want to buy it, that's fine.
and then you're like,
if you're disappointed,
hey,
it's I don't.
really
Yeah, it's like the whole thing of like showing people your boobs so you can talk about women's rights. You know.
Yeah,
I'm not above doing that. Like, here are my tits. Now let me talk about feminism while I have your attention.
How do you feel about the representation of sex work in media and literature?
In the future,
Or like now, currently, what's out there?
it's really interesting, isn't it? Because I think people say, oh, things are getting better because they see more references to sex and stuff on TV. But I don't know if it is. You know, when you think about things like the manosphere and all of that, I don't think women are getting represented better. I don't think, in terms of censorship, things aren't necessarily improving. I very rarely see a representation of sex work in the media that I do think is authentic.
Yeah.
It's usually kind of like outside of film and stuff where you'll get any kind of like realistic representation. So yeah, I'm not wildly confident for it. And I think it's people who aren't like really involved in sex work who think things are getting better because they might see a reference to an escort on the television, you know.
Yeah, and work made by sex workers, like, where is it?
Yeah, that is it. That's, I think, quite frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah.
I even find it quite difficult to find like literature and stuff that I find like authentic or...
Yeah, who are your favourite sex worker writers?
Tilly Lawless.
Yes, you told me about that book.
Yeah, I love that book. That's one I always recommend. Is it Nothing But My Body? I recommend that to a lot of people. Second Skin, Anastasia, is it? Yeah, that is a great book. I'm trying to think. There are some others, but there aren't lots of others.
Yeah,
that I've found that I've personally really loved.
It's like access to opportunities. Or there's so many like sex worker artists, I think, but it's also like who's opening the door for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I know so many people that have written books that are sitting on their Google Drive.
Yeah.
But it's like access.
Exactly.
And the same with this show that I'm developing.
It's very difficult to get.
Like, I know the show I want to make, but they won't make the show that I want to make. So I have to change it to get it made. And that probably happens to so many people.
It's very difficult. I'm really, really lucky that I know a lot of writers and publishers and stuff who support me, because otherwise no one's going to be listening, I don't think.
Yeah, no, definitely. What would you... Wait, have you seen Honora? And what did you think of that?
I have seen Honora. It didn't fall into one of my... There are some sex work films that I do really love, or kink films I love. That one, I don't know. It was been a while since I saw it, but I remember not getting the hype, you know.
Yeah.
And it felt like, again, like kind of slightly. Trying to think of what I'm trying to say here, but like showing a certain view of it.
Felt written by a client.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it felt very much like a really souped up stereotype. Mm-hmm. And there was so much talk about it. I thought it was going to be doing something different. Have you seen Zola?
Zola, I have loved Zola.
Yeah, Zola. I think I don't know why that didn't get the hype that Nora did. Yeah. You know, when sometimes that it like really seems to focus on the qualities that you as a sex worker would want to downplay. They highlight.
Yeah, and then how do you feel about the representation of kink and domination, and are there misconceptions that people have?
In terms of film cinema in general?
Cinema in general?
Lots of misconceptions, I think. Film and cinema, I think there's a lot of eye rolling for me, because they always, again, they focus on the stereotypes and hype them up and suit them up, and it kind of really dehumanizes it. Dehumanizes the clients, it dehumanizes the dominatrixes. It's very surface level, and often I think a lot of times there's a lot of ridicule in it. So, you know, people are like, what's the weirdest thing you've done? And I hate it when typically even people are like, what's the weirdest thing you've done? Because it's like, that's just kind of making light of someone else's sexual identity or their life experience. I'm like, I don't want to share someone's personal journey with you just to make you laugh.
Yeah, for sure.
I think in terms of domination, oh God, unfortunately that all clients are like rich judges. I fucking wish. They all think they're like suits who are just like throwing cash at me and then coming to see me to get kicked in between business meetings. And it's like,
yes,
really,
that's exactly what the perception is.
Absolutely what it is. And I'd say if I do, because this is a question I get asked a lot, so I'm just going to answer it now. The typical client, if I had to pick one, which is difficult because it's the whole walks of life, single creatives in their late 30s.
Oh, that's your main client?
I think because it's people with disposable income who aren't committed to their families, and I think creative people are more sexually open. That's my analysis of why, but yeah, that's what I'd say.
That's really interesting.
Not bankers. It's not bankers. Also, I think for me, obviously, I am quite softly so spoken, a bit of like a simp. I'm not a typical like what people think a dominatrix would be, and I think that's a misconception, that you have to be really harsh, or that if you're powerful in your work capacity, that you're rude and obnoxious in real life. When, kink is about consent, communication, empathy, all of these really important traits.
I definitely know workers that have gone, okay, I hope no one listens. I have some friends that went out with a shared client and then he's submissive and he took them to dinner and so they just decided to not speak to him the whole time because they thought that's what you do.
Yeah.
And then he really hated it.
Oh, bless. Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like people have like a perception of like, you need to be very mean.
Yeah.
Or,
absolutely not.
What advice would you give advice to any pre-existing sex workers that want to like transition from like escorting to domination? Is it a completely different skill set?
Yes and no. Firstly, people don't like to talk about it, but kinky girlfriend experience is very common and totally acceptable, and being a dominatrix doesn't mean you can't do full service. Fuck that if people tell you that's the truth. It is not. So use the skills you already have available, use your past experience. It is much more about the psyche than it is about the body. Do your homework, I think, particularly when it comes to consent, boundaries, physical safety and hygiene. Hygiene, I'm sure, is a big overlap, but you have a lot of responsibility for
that is so true, and something that's very overlooked.
So much responsibility, and so take that responsibility seriously.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a bigger undertaking. Do you feel that there is really interesting? I think you talk about like the kinky girlfriend experience. Do you feel like there is stigma from DOMs to full service workers?
Some DOMs, yes, and I hate that. The hierarchy doesn't exist. It isn't real. It doesn't make you less dominant. That's the patriarchy talking. Yeah, and we oppose that, don't we?
Definitely. I know a Dom that's written on her website like, I do not touch my clients, and it's like
mad. I touch my clients. I really, really reject that. Yeah, and don't let anyone tell you that.
So I asked you earlier to reflect on what you tell your younger self. Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
This is why I don't sleep. This is terrifying for me. Because obviously when you're in this line of work, you're kind of making hay while the sun shines. And right now the sun is shining. You don't know when it's going to stop. And I'm a really cautious person by nature. I'm not one of those people. I have my mortgage, I have my life insurance, I have my will written up. I've got everything. Oh, wow. Every I dotted, every T crossed. And I think it's because of the lack of stability in my work. But as a naturally cautious person, this isn't a great industry for me because I don't have you don't have a career trajectory as such. I'm not one of those people, I don't think, who can be doing it into their 50s and 60s. Men, book me now. I'm not going to be here forever. So I know I need to think of something, but I have a 20-year kink, 12-year sex work shaped hole in my CV. I don't know how to do anything else. In an ideal world, I'll be writing books.
Yes, you will.
In an ideal world, I'll be reading books. I'm somehow making a lot of money out of it so I can sustain my lifestyle.
Yeah, I can't wait to
I haven't a
reflect
clue.
on this. We can clip it in 10 years when you've got like 5 bestsellers out.
Yeah, that would be so cute.
Oh, amazing. Well, thank you so much. You've been an incredible guest. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
Not right now, no, but follow me on Instagram. I assume you can link that. And keep an eye out and keep your fingers crossed for this potential book.
Yes, definitely.
Hypothetical book, yeah.
Thank you so much.